Oh, that's awesome. You're on? Am I on? Hi everyone, welcome to Franklin Park Zoo. My name is Melanie, I'm one of the educators here, and for today's Zoo to You, we are with our potto, Chaga. Now as you can see, Chaga's enclosure looks a little bit different than a lot of our other animals. We've got this red light in the background for him. That is because pottos are a nocturnal animal. So in order to simulate nighttime for them, so that they are awake when our visitors are here, we have this infrared red light where he believes that it is still dark out. He doesn't perceive the red light, but we can actually see him very well. Now, right now, Chaga is having a wonderfully tasty little treat. He's got some insects in this hanging enrichment for him. It is some superworms, some mealworms, some crickets. And pottos' diets are typically mostly fruits, but they do eat about maybe 10% of their diet is insects. They will also eat some other things. Occasionally they can catch some bats or they can catch some small animals, but the majority of their diet is fruit. Now, as you can see, he is hanging upside down. They are a primate species, even though they don't look like most of the monkeys we know. They do not have that typical long tail that most primates that we think of do, but they are a part of the primate family. They spend a lot of time actually hanging upside down. And fun fact, when they are courting each other, they will hang upside down and groom one another. So they do spend a lot of time in the trees, both upside down and right side up. They are a completely arboreal species, which means that they are always in the treetops. They typically will not ever come down to the ground. And there are a few reasons for that, but the biggest one is that is their protection. Where they live in the top of the canopy in the rainforest, it is too high up for any of the mammals who might try to eat them to reach. And in the area that they live, all of the birds of prey that might potentially try to eat them are what we call diurnal, which means they are awake during the day and asleep at night. So they would not be out when our potto friends are out looking for food or just moving about in the trees. It is very difficult to see, and I'm not sure if you can, but an interesting thing about pottos is their index digit on all four of their hands and feet is actually just a little bit of a stump. It's a little nub, so they don't have a full index digit. And their name, their species name actually comes from the Greek. That means maimed index finger, because it looks like there should be a finger there, but there's not. I want to pause and see if there are any questions right now, just to make sure.
They only stay inside.
Do they only stay inside? Yes, because we have this setup made for them because we want them to feel like it is nighttime. They do not like bright lights. It hurts their eyes. They have something in the back of their eye similar to what a lot of feline species have, where if you shine a light at them, you're going to see that reflection. So it's not good for them as a nocturnal animal to have bright lights around. So he's always going to be in this enclosure or in his off-exhibit enclosure in the back. He's not going to go outside at all.
Someone want to know, why is the light red?
Why is the light red? That is really for us to be able to see him, but to him, it is dark in there. He does not see the red light the way that we see it. Their eyes are not, because they're a nocturnal animal, the rods and cones in their eyes are different than ours. So rods are going to be what sees light, and cones are going to be what sees color. Since they are a nocturnal animal, they're going to have a lot of rods, because it's going to be very low light when they're out. But they're not going to be able to see a lot of color because more rods means less cones. So they can't really see the red light. It looks like it's dark to them. But it allows us to be able to see them.
Someone wants to know, how old is Chaga?
Chaga is an old man. He is actually fairly old for a potto. He's about 32. He's going to be 33 in January. And just to put that in perspective, wild potto will typically live to early mid-20s. So he's definitely above the wild life expectancy, and we're really proud of the fact that we have contributed to his long lifespan and his welfare.
What defense mechanisms do they have?
Ooh, defense mechanisms. Fun thing about these guys, they're a cousin of an animal called the slow loris, which people may be familiar with a little more than a potto. But if you know the slow loris, you know that they have sort of a venom when they bite, and that is what protects them the most. These guys have a similar thing. They have a chemical in their saliva that will cause inflammation if they bite you. And they do have a really strong jaw and sharp teeth, considering that they're so small. Their main defense, though, is going to be staying high up in the canopy of the tree, where most of the animals that could prey on them will not be able to reach them.
Is he alone?
He is alone in here right now. We have a female potto. Our potto are part of what we call a species survival plan, which means that they are recommended to be a breeding pair. So they do see each other at certain times, but we only have one of them out on the exhibit at a time. The chaga tends to be the one that's out the most.
Where's he sleep?
If you want to show up there, there's a little box in the back with a hole in it. That is a nest box, so that is a place for him to go and curl up in. He also has on the other side of his enclosure sort of what looks like a hollowed out tree log. It's actually made out of PVC, which is a type of like hard plastic. So those are a couple of different places where he can go and sort of relax and take a little nap.
Are they trainable?
I mean, they are a primate species, so they are intelligent in the same way that a lot of other primate species appear to be. I would like to say that pretty much any animal is trainable. You just need to figure out the right way to train them. Training is really a communication between the keeper or the person who's working with them and the animal, trying to find a way to let them know what we're asking of them, and then to give them some sort of reinforcement when they provide that behavior for us. So I know that they have some behaviors that these animals have had trained. We are able to get him to voluntarily go into a small carrying crate if we need to move him from different places. They also have him what's called target trained, which is, for anyone who has a dog might know that means we have sort of like a stick with a ball on the end of it where he knows to touch a part of his body to that, and we can utilize that to move him around the space to different places if we need him to go somewhere. And he's also trained for voluntary weights, so he can get on a scale when asked so we can get a weight on him.
Where's he found?
These guys are native to sort of like Central Africa, around like Uganda, Nigeria, that sort of area, and specifically also in Sierra Leone is where they have a very large population.
Are they endangered?
They are endangered. That's part of the reason that they are part of our species survival plan. Unfortunately, at this time, I don't know exactly what the designation that they are based on the red list, which is basically that's the list of like what level of endangerment different species are at.
Do they get vaccines?
I know that they have gotten some vaccines. I forget exactly which ones. As far as I'm aware, they have not gotten a COVID vaccine, or at least it was not indicated where I was able to find that information. But they have gotten other types of vaccines. I don't remember exactly which ones, however. These questions are great. I'm really enjoying all of the input that everyone has. Want to make sure, have we got any more? No? All right. Well, I hope that you all enjoyed seeing my friend Chaga here eat his buggies. I know I did. And thank you so much for joining us. If you have any additional questions, please pop those in the chat and we can answer those at a later point in time. But thank you and have a great afternoon.